Shell, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you want to party? Oh my God. Hi, I'm Aaron, and my voice is still wrecked from the Friday the 13th review we did yesterday. If you missed that one, you'll know why I'm so wrecked. And you are?
I'm Michelle, and this is Peach, our little party crashing animal.
Yes, our own little punk. Give you a little mohawk. So, yesterday for our very first episode, we recorded,
Oh my gosh, you just get so excited whenever we record, Peach.
yeah, you'll find a spot eventually that you like. Okay, there we go. So for our very first episode, by the way, this is Jump Scare Reviews, the show where this dog jumps up and scares us. No, it's the review show where we just casually chill out and talk about horror movies, and we don't worry about editing or looking professional in any way. So, yesterday, it'd be a week ago for you guys, but yesterday for us, we recorded our first episode. We wanted to be on something big, so we talked about Friday the 13th Part 1, a film that I hate. So I went, okay, we got to talk about a classic today and a classic that I love. And we immediately, it just went to Return of the Living Dead. Now, you've seen this before, obviously.
Yes.
It's not your first time seeing it, but you didn't know a lot about the backstory on
No.
this. And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't know that, so I'll just cover that real quick. Is that a lot of people hear, oh, Living Dead, so this is like tied to Night of the Living Dead, and if you watch it, they even mention Night of the Living Dead in there. In this movie, Night of the Living Dead canonically happened. Not, well, we'll get into it a little bit later. Yeah. But a lot of people wonder, like, okay, so this is connected to that film. Kind of. The way it's connected is that George Romero made Night of the Living Dead, but movies are not made by one person. So there was somebody else who worked on the team, John A. Russo. And John Russo was instrumental in, and the story even goes that he's the one who came up with the idea of a movie about flesh-eating ghouls. And George Romero turned that into the zombies and what we know. And there came a point in which they kept working together, but there came a point in which John Russo was like, I don't really like where we're going with this. This isn't what I want to make with these movies anymore. And I just realized it's very interesting that we spent a large chunk of the previous episode talking about the horrible legal problems behind Friday the 13th and how the two guys who made that film just split off and just ruined everything. Whereas here, it was a far more like mutual understanding, very civil. They just sat down. I don't even think they went to court. I think they just came to a gentleman's agreement. Okay, here's the deal. I will keep making movies set within this universe, but you will get the rights to the name Living Dead. Which is why the George Romero films go Night of the Living Dead, but then it doesn't go Dawn of the Living Dead, it goes just Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. John Russo then went off and made Return of the Living Dead. And yes, this is a very different film.
Yes, very different tone.
He definitely had a different direction he wanted to go. And the different tone isn't just thanks to John A. Russo. The director, Dan O'Bannon, from what I understand, he's the one who really wanted to make this. He really wanted to make this a punk film, and that's the thing. This isn't just one of the best zombie films and one of the best '80s horror films. It's also one of the best punk films. Not just because there's a bunch of punk characters in there, but like it has a very punk mentality of the government's trying to fuck you over. You gotta just rely on each other. Which is the creed of the punk community. So. Dan O'Bannon, I know he's the one who was like, I wanted to focus on punks because I hate how punks are depicted, and some of my best friends are punks, and some of the nicest people I've ever met are punks. It's like, that's awesome. Dan O'Bannon was also a piece of shit for everything else they did on this film. But I will say, in later interviews, Dan O'Bannon did come out, and he was basically like, yes, I realize I was a piece of shit on this film. I apologize. I feel very bad. It's like, okay. You had your moment where you realized that you were a bad person. It's like, okay, I'll give you some credit on that. But, so this film, it starts off at a facility out of, not factory, at a warehouse.
Yes, like a medical warehouse, to be exact.
It's a medical supplies warehouse where, like, if you've ever wondered, like, hey, where do doctors get cadavers from? It's like, here you go. This is where they get their skeletons. This is where, like, you know, if you're a veterinarian and you want a dog that's been cut in half so you can see the insides of the dog, yep, this is where you go for that. Which I always find stuff like that interesting about, like, okay, where do the things that we don't think about where they come from? That's like, all right, that's a cool saying for this. And it starts off, and the I was about to say a protagonist, but that's something interesting about this film. There's really no protagonist.
No.
There's just the first people we see.
Yes.
And the first people we see is Freddy, played by, I've got it written off screen, Tom Matthews, who you are going to see later in the Friday the 13th series. And then his boss is Frank, played by James Karen. This won't be distracting me looking off in this distance at all. There's a lot of names in this movie. But so there's Freddy and Frank. And Freddy is like your good-natured, like golden retriever kind of guy. Like just like he's like a 20-year-old, like he's still got like his Letterman's jacket from high school, but he's just like big, dumb, friendly guy. He's like, all right, that's nice. And Frank is the older guy who wants to be like the cool guy in charge, and he wants the young guy to like him, wants the young guy to look up to him. But the moment shit hits the fan, he's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's so... And the actor, James Karen, plays the hell out of that role, by the way. He's so good in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very clearly like that older guy who wants the cool guy, the young kid, to respect him. So after he shows him around a little bit, he goes, hey, you want to see something cool? You want to see something... The dog wants to see something cool. He goes, basically like, hey, you want to see something cool? You know that movie, Night of the Living Dead? What if I told you it was real? What if I told you it actually happened? There was an actual zombie came back from life, and the government tried to cover it up. So they sealed him up. And the reason I know that is because they accidentally sent the container with it to our warehouse. And it's just been in the basement for 14 years now. And so he takes him down there and shows him, and sure enough, there it is. There's an actual zombie in a container. And this is where, like I said, this is a punk film because it is all about the United States government sucks ass. And you know that from the second this happens because he takes him down there, shows him the tank, he's like, oh, well, what happens if this thing breaks out? It's like, oh, this thing ain't gonna break. This was made by U.S. Army engineers. Clank, and just immediately cracks open.
To be fair, it is like 14
it's
years old.
Like 14 years old,
so.
Yeah.
You should have known better.
It was probably meant to go to a secure facility and
Yes.
just stay there. But yeah, they let this. They took this thing down there and they just let it like rot down there. Which there's also like a Nixon poster behind him or something. We kept looking at that trying to figure out what it was. But yeah, this thing cracks open, gas starts pouring out everywhere, and that's when the score kicks in. And there's only really there's a lot of soundtrack in here. There's a lot of licensed music in here, and it's good licensed music. It is good punk music. But the one track that they really came up with for this thing on its own, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It is a good song. It will get stuck in your head.
Yeah, I saw you from the corner of my eye bobbing your head to it.
Yeah, it is a toe tapper. So, gas pours out everywhere, and then these guys wake up, and they are sweating and coughing.
Yeah.
And as somebody who is a bit of a germaphobe, I'm not nearly as bad as I used to be, but I used to back in the day be a big-time germaphobe. And man, I remember this scene just sticking with me, because this is the most sick you have probably ever seen people in a movie.
It really did feel so real.
Yeah, just how they're sweating and how the two actors just look oh God, and it's not for a scene.
No.
It's throughout the rest of the film.
Yeah, and it's you can see them slowly getting worse and worse. And
Yeah.
The makeup effect is pretty awesome.
Makeup effect in this thing is great, and I do not remember the makeup artist in here, but the makeup is worth pointing out because the special effects guy, he got hired and then he got fired after a few weeks because he was so bad. And everybody was like, God, your stuff is awful. The only thing he did here that remained the same was the first zombie you see, the Homer Simpson zombie. And yeah, there is indeed a difference between that zombie and the rest of the zombies. We'll talk more about the Homer Simpson zombie in a second, but I will say, again, there's another one of those ones where people shit-talk the original special effects guy so much in this movie. And again, years later, people are it was Dan O'Bannon's fault. That motherfucker kept coming up to him, changing his mind on shit, not giving him all the stuff that he needed on here. And I have seen people who criticized him, in later documentaries, apologizing and be this was not his fault. So good, but even the original special effects guy was oh yeah, I'll admit, that stuff was not good I was making. So everybody kind of came around on this. All right. But yeah, so they wake up, And again, this is so like, again, it's part of what speaks to the punk mentality of this thing. I love when they're freaking out about everything, because the first thing that happens is they start hearing this, and they look, and one of the split dogs is moving around again.
Yeah, like the gas like reanimates all the dead things.
Which, again, this is such a great place to set. Something brings the dead back to life. Set in that warehouse full of dead things. Oh, that's a brilliant idea. Like, there's a moment which you see, like, the butterflies that, like, insect doctors use. Like, yeah, like the dead butterflies that are, like, pinned to walls, they start flapping their wings again. That is one of the creepier effects to me. But they also have, like, a full cadaver that is inside of, like, a storage room.
Yeah, like,
and
it looked like a meat locker.
It's like a meat locker, yeah, it's a freezer, and it comes back to life. And that's when, like, shit just starts
That was the Homer Simpson
It's
corpse.
yellow. It's totally yellow for some reason. But this is one of those things that, again, it speaks to the punk mentality of this and, like, where they're coming from, is that Freddy starts freaking out about all this. And it's like, oh my God, what's happening? What's going on here? And then Frank says to him, watch your tongue, boy, if you want to keep this job. This job! Like, he just freaks out like, who gives a shit about the job? And again, it's that punk mentality of like, no, the company is the true enemy. And there's like, things are going down, but you got to worry about the company and how the company looks. Yeah.
Which is still true to this day.
It's worse today.
Yes.
It's fucking. There's a moment later on. I'm skipping way ahead, but their boss, like Frank, is not the boss. Frank is the guy above Freddy. The boss is this guy named Bert, and Bert. There comes a moment in which Bert comes in there, and he sees that they're sick, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to drive you guys to the hospital." And I was thinking, I have had so many jobs with the think about the company guys in here, they would never have taken me to the hospital. Fucking ever. They would have left me on the side of the road if they had the option. Yeah, I have worked for companies that would be like, no, fuck, get out of the car. Yeah. Man, glad I did not kick that camera there. Yeah, so that I remember that specific moment. I was like, fuck. My bosses are worse than the shit boss in this movie. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, so they call up Bert, and Bert comes by, and this is when the movie gets really crazy, is that they decide, all right, Bert comes by, which I love that Bert instantly believes them. He probably saw the split dog, too.
Yeah.
But, and also Bert knows about the tank that's been in the basement here, which, again, speaking to the punk mentality, the punk mentality is not all companies are bad, all governments are bad. No, the punk mentality has always been the greed of companies is bad.
Yes.
And this is a great way of showing it off, is that Bert could have at any moment called up the government on that little container and had them come in here, take control of it. All of this would have been non-issue. But he didn't want the government coming into his place and interfering in the big investigation, though that may have made him look bad. So now it's like, that's the reason they're in this. They ain't in this because Frank wanted to show off the cool thing in the basement to Freddy. They're in this because 14 years ago, Bert was like, oh, that might be bad for business if all of a sudden we gotta follow protocol. Yeah. So Bert comes in here, and they decide they're going to kill the Homer Simpson zombie. They open the door, he comes right out there, and they tackle him to the ground, and they're actually going like, okay, well, how did they die in the movie? Well, they destroy the brain. That's what it is. You gotta destroy the brain. So he takes out a pickaxe, and he slams it into the zombie's head. And then the zombie keeps moving. And it has one of my favorite lines from any zombie movie, or any horror movie in general. One of my favorite lines is when they goes, what do you mean he's not dead? And he goes, well, it worked in the movie. And then Freddy goes, you mean the movie line? I love that line so much. And I should point out right now, this is also considered one of the best horror comedies. And it is so weird for me to think about that, because this is not the normal split that you see on a horror comedy. A lot of horror comedies, when you think about it, you know, like Shaun of the Dead, where it's like 70% comedy, 30% horror or something like that. Most horror comedies always lean towards the comedy side of it. It's just like a comedy with spooky stuff in there. But I was watching, I think it was the In Search of Darkness documentary, which was all about 80s horror. And Joe Bob Briggs, who is the host of Monster Vision and Last Drive-In, he was on there, and he said the key to a horror comedy is that the split has to be 80% horror, 20% comedy. Because if you go further than that, it's not scary. If you go further than that, it's a comedy that has scary stuff in there. And I have always thought about that, because I'm like, man, if it's 80-20, that's just gonna be that's gonna be too much horror for me. And I watched this film and I'm like, it's 80-20. This film is 80% horror with 20% really good jokes in there. So it's like, yeah, it's been called one of the best horror comedies, but I totally get people going like, no, this is a straight up horror film. I was like, yeah, I get it. It is going to be that weird cut that is not going to fit for a lot of people. But yeah, the first half hour of this film is a great comedy. I love the comedy in here, but the moment it hits horror, it's horror.
Yes.
So they have to figure out now what to do with this zombie. And while all that's happening, Freddy's girlfriend and their friends, who are every 80s stereotype combined, which again, I gotta say this, that's another part of like the punk mentality. Again, punks are not discriminatory people. Punks are people who are like, nah, everybody's welcome. Everybody gets to come along and hang out. So you've got this crew, and there's a couple of like hardcore punks, but then there are the 80s like suit wearing kids.
Yes.
But then there's, and I don't mean like business kids. No, back in the 80s, that was a fashion statement of like, no, I just wear a giant shoulder pad suit. Like that was a definite fashion statement back then. And then there's also Freddy's girlfriend, who she comes off like
an average like
Lil Miss Next Door.
Yeah.
Like the prom queen, like Lil Miss, like All American.
All American sweetheart.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, I was like All American sweet and something. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I love that all of them are just there together, but you understand it.
Yeah.
Like, you see them, and you're just like, yeah, no, I totally buy. Like, the charisma between this crew, and apparently they had, like, just a week before this to just come together and, like, establish, like, the tone and everything, and it was just them getting to know each other. And yeah, you feel that. Like, it definitely adds to the chemistry that they all have, and it makes you go, yes, I see why they would all be hanging out together. Absolutely. And they're great characters too. Like, every single one of them is memorable. The only one of them that isn't really memorable is the one I'm glad isn't memorable, because I should point out there is one guy in here. He played the... Are you already laughing because you know who it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you know about this. All right. There's one guy in there. His name was Scuzz. He's the guy with the yellow mohawk. If you saw that Nickelodeon documentary, he was involved in that, and I will leave it at that. And I am glad that that's all we really need to say about that character, because he is the least important out of all the punks. All the other punks are really cool people, and were played by very nice people from what I understand. So yeah, we have to address that elephant in the room. But all the other ones in there was Spider, played by Miguel Nunez, who is... I honestly think one of the most underrated, charismatic actors.
Oh yeah, he was really great in this.
He's great in this, and he's that guy who shows up and just gives everything when he is in something. There's Miguel Nunez. There's the most angry punk of them all, Suicide.
Oh, you can't say that. We had to say unalive.
I was actually thinking that. As we were watching this, I actually thought to myself, okay, if they made this today, would they have to call him Unalive? If they did that, yeah, okay. So, you can even tell I lowered my voice a little bit when I said his name. But yeah, and I love that character because he is like the stereotypical punk. Like, he is angry, he wants to fight everyone, he is covered in massive chains.
And then, like, that one scene where he's, like, all by himself, he's like, man, nobody understands me. This isn't a phase, this is who I am.
And he's got this girl, like, trying to, like, just jump his bones in that scene. And it's like... Get off of me. Get some respect for yourself. I'm like, there are layers to this character. This one scene does so much to establish him, and I love it. But speaking of that character who was on him, Linnea Quigley, Scream Queen herself, like famous B-movie actress Linnea Quigley, she is in here as Trash, who is the most standout member of all these. For obvious reasons. Honestly, for like... Okay, I was about to say for two obvious reasons, but I know where everybody's head was going to go with that. No. She's a standout character because, she does have a very extended nude scene in here. But also, it's not a scene. It's half the film.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
A scene ends when you say cut.
Yeah, but it's like, basically she starts stripping in the graveyard and, like, she hasn't really put on any clothes since, like, well, technically she wasn't fully nude. She had her leg warmers on.
You pointed that out to me. I was like, wow, she's not just nude, she's 80s nude. Yeah, the leg warmers stay on. But I love that when she starts like getting up and stripping in this graveyard, which should say the punks all come along and they go into this graveyard to wait for Freddy to get off work.
And they decide to like just party there.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So they go in there and they start partying, and then there comes a moment in which Linnea quickly trash. Just starts taking her clothes off and dancing, and it's built up to like the audience doesn't know what's about to start happening. But when it starts happening, one of them off screen goes, "Get some lights over here. Trash is taking her clothes off again." And I was just like, I love that line because it implies they just know she's going to do this. It's just like, wow, yep, that's Trash is getting naked again.
That's how she is.
She just does that. But another reason why she's so memorable in here is because she is so deadpan.
Mm-hmm.
She is 1000% deadpan, which I love that because Linnea Quigley does not normally play that character. So God bless her for showing up and doing that. Which I should point out that after this franchise has been, no pun intended, dead for like 20 years now, they have now suddenly announced not one but two brand new films. And by the way, yes, I see the irony in a successor to Night of the Living Dead that then split off into two different things, now splitting off into two other things. I see that. One of them, it's just another Return of the Living Dead that's apparently set like right after this film.
Oh.
Which is interesting because there were 3 other Night of the Living Dead films, but all of them were in different continuities. The only thing that tied them all together was that chemical that turned people into zombies in each of them. That's the one thing that keeps all the Return of the Living Dead films together.
I didn't see any other the other Living Dead movies.
I saw like the third one when I was much younger. I might have even seen it before the first one. And it's okay. It's interesting. I do want to check out the second one. I've heard it's not great, but there's stuff in there that I have heard that interests me. But
maybe we can do
we'll
that
do it eventually.
For our next jump scare review, maybe.
Oh, like wait.
Eventually.
Eventually, yes. We'll do it eventually.
Put it aside for now.
But yes, but the other new Return of the Living Dead film is apparently going to be called Trash's Revenge or something like that. And it's about Linnea Quigley in the real world going to horror cons and everyone recognizing her as Trash from Return of the Living Dead, and then zombies start appearing. And like, I'm going to give you... I've seen many people attempt something like this, and it doesn't go that well. But you know what? There's something about Return of the Living Dead being a successor to Night of the Living Dead, and they stopped to actually continuously point out that Night of the Living Dead was a film that happened in this world. And now you make it a successor to Return of the Living Dead, and you're constantly going to stop to point out that Return of the Living Dead was a film in this world that happened. All right, I'll give you some points on that. But yeah, as I said...
a movie based on a movie based on a movie.
Yes. But as I said, Trash in this film is so deadpan. One of my favorite lines is when they first pull up to the warehouse and like, man, look at this building. And then Trash just goes, I like it. It makes a statement. It's like, yeah.
She's very deadpan and she like loves like the macabre and everything. So
yeah, there's a moment in which like this is one of the negatives I will give this film is that right before she starts stripping, she says, "Do you ever think of all the ways that you could die? I always think the best way to die would be for a bunch of men to start grabbing and biting me, ripping my flesh off." And foreshadowing is a narrative tool that is often used. I was like, okay, dude, everybody knows what you're setting up here. Like, wow, I don't even feel bad spoiling that yet. We're not at the spoiler part of this review yet. I don't even feel bad for spoiling that because I'm just like, dude, everybody now knows where you're going with this. So they, as all this is going on, Freddie and Frank and my...
Buddy?
Bud?
Hold on, the screen
went black.
Hold on, wake it up.
Wake up. Burt. Thank you. By the way, I want to point out about Burt's actor. Burt's actor was a classic Western actor. And that is not the kind of person you would expect in a film like this. And also, I said that everybody on this set got like a week to just bond beforehand. He got added late. He was like the last guy, and he came in right before they started shooting, so he didn't get time to bond. He didn't get time to know anyone else. And in a weird way, that kind of works because it makes him the boss who is disconnected from the other employees. But also, he said that while he was filming, he had no idea what this film was supposed to be. It was just so weird and different to him. But then he saw it and went, this film is genius. And I'm just like, dude, for an old Western guy to be in a punk 80s zombie film and to walk out of actually seeing it and be like, I get it. I get it. You kids are all right. Like, you know what? Kudos to that actor. Kudos to that actor. Also, apparently, I mentioned that the director was a piece of shit. Apparently, he treated, what was her name? Beverly Randolph, who played Tina, who is the girlfriend of Freddy. Apparently, he did some, like, absolutely shitty on set. Not like that.
Oh.
Like, there is a stunt that happened, and he basically lied to her about it because he wanted to get the biggest reaction out of her. And, like, she almost seriously injured herself.
Oh, was it the scene where she fell through the floor of the stairs? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a moment when she falls, and yeah, he did not tell her, oh, by the way, that stair's gonna break away on you. She didn't know that was gonna happen. So that's a genuine reaction when she freaks out at falling through those stairs. And apparently Bert's actor was like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you for that. Like, all right! Again, this was a punk film, and a lot of people think punk is just hating old people and disrespecting authority. It's like, no, it's disrespecting assholes.
Yes.
And if an old person's willing to stand up for the young person, good for them. And it's like, man, there's something kind of great about the fact that Bert's actor was like, no, I'm standing up for the young people on this, even though I have no idea what the fuck this movie is. Yeah, class act. Okay. So Freddy and Bert and Fred all have Freddy, Bert, and Frank all have to go and take this zombie. They ended up chopping up its body into little tiny pieces, and man, one of the most disturbing parts of this is they had to have the zombie pinned down, and they started cutting its head off, and the zombie's screaming the whole time, and as they're cutting it, you hear the screams go from like, to like, it's, yeah, it is a messed up scene. But they chop it up into little tiny pieces, and then they take it over to the crematorium. And there's the old guy still working there. His name is Ernie.
Yes.
Thank you. Ernie's something German. And they take him over there, and they drop off the body, and they try to get Ernie to agree to burn it and agree to keep the secret. And I am so split on Ernie in this film. And I don't think you know why. And I'm going to reveal some stuff to you, and I want to get your actual reaction from this.
Okay.
First off, how did you feel about Ernie?
I felt like it was like the it seemed like he was supposed to be like the cool guy who knew how to like keep calm in like serious situations.
I definitely think that.
And like kind of like a father figure or like an older brother, kind of.
The older, mature guy.
Yes, basically.
The guy who has his stuff together.
Yes.
Yes, and I agree with you. I think they would go for that, and I think that's kind of a cool thing that they had a character like that in here, especially when everybody else is freaking out so much. And I also really appreciate that he's kind of a quirky guy, which, you know, you think about a guy out in the middle of the woods just constantly, like, you know...
I mean, he's a mortician. He's going to be quirky. It kind of has to go with the job.
It's understandable, yep. I think I really like his character in this film. I like a lot of stuff about him in this film. Until I found something out about his character.
Uh-oh.
His character's a Nazi.
Oh.
And I was like, what? When does that ever come up? It never comes up in here. Apparently, it's like headcanon stuff that like, and I don't mean like fan headcanon. No.
Like actual canon.
It's canon because we go out there and it started with him like listening to like German music on I was like, okay, well that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But then he pulls out a gun and it's like an actual Nazi gun. Like it's the gun that they used to use.
Well, I'm not very gun savvy, so I did not know that.
I don't know that either. But then apparently he has a poster up there on the big corkboard, and this time I was looking for it, and I saw it, I was like, oh shit. He has a poster of Eva Braun up there. And apparently his character's last name is supposed to be a reference to a famous Nazi. And I'm just like, oh fuck. And it just ruins this character for me.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it's like, okay, if you want to put a character like that in your film, have them be the asshole. Have them be like the one who we're glad dies. Like, have them be racist towards everyone else or some shit. And then we're like applying, but it's like, no, if you're trying to make him a cool character, I'm just like, why did you do that? It doesn't tie into the film in any way at all. I have no idea why they decided to do that. It is so weird to me. And I want to know whose idea it was. Because there's nothing in, if you just look at words, if you just look at the words on the script, there's nothing in there that would imply this. It makes me think it has to be like Dan O'Bannon or some shit. Because like, he's the guy who came in here and like, I have to imagine he must have put it in there somewhere. Because he's the only one who I can imagine would have had the power to do that. Because, yeah, there's nothing in the script that would have said, like, there's no line he says. Well, no. There's one line where out of nowhere he speaks German. But again, that's just German.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
Nah.
His last name is German. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they wrote just a German character in here. And, like, Dan O'Bannon just decided, like, oh, he's German, huh? What if we did this? It's like, fuck off. Yeah, or I don't know. Actually, now I think about it, his last name is said. His last name is a reference. God damn. It is so upsetting. It's like the one thing, because like I said, if you didn't know that, you'd probably walk away. It was like, oh, what an interesting, quirky character. And he actually provides like some strength in this movie. It's like, oh, it's kind of like, no. Fuck. Yeah, it really is upsetting to me that they did this. Yeah, so that's the one thing about this film that I'm like, oh, God, I hate this. So.
It's completely unnecessary, too.
It is! It doesn't tie into anything! It's not important in any way! I fucking hate it. So anyways, in fact, the fact that he actually is willing to work with the punks and like help them out and everything, he never like once is like negative towards them anyway. It's kind of like it doesn't even. It feels like it goes against the film. It feels like it goes against everything else in the movie. It's so I hate it. Anyway, so now that that's out of the way.
Okay.
Now that that's out of the way,
are there any more elephants in the room that we need to get?
No,
past?
I think that's it.
Okay.
I don't think Miguel Nunez said it and did anything on here. Okay. I think he was okay. Linnea Quigley was all right. Everyone's good. Okay. So, and again, I should point out, it's the character, not the actor.
No, yeah.
The actor might not even know that was supposed to be his character or anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so they now have to burn the body. That body that would just not die.
Yes.
And that's the thing, even when they cut off the arms, the arms are like crawling around on their own. They chop off its head and the body got up and start running around. And I remember when I was a kid and I saw this for the first time, that scared the hell out of me. Because when you go into horror, there's always like rules. Mm-hmm. Because rules give you hope.
Yes.
Like, oh God, how do you kill a werewolf? There is a rule for that. How do you kill a vampire? There is a rule for that. Every monster has some kind of a rule for how to take it down. And if there isn't a rule, you just beat him up. Yeah, it's like there's no rule to take Frankenstein down, but if you stick him inside of a burning building, he goes down. Actually, no, fire, I guess, is kind of his rule. Anyway, but yeah, there's always rules, and when it comes to zombies, you take them out of the head, that's it. And the rules, they give you hope in these kinds of films. And I remember as a kid, the moment that the zombie got up without the head and started still running around. I was like maybe 12, 13 years old when I saw that. And I was like...
mind blown.
What do you mean there's no rules? What do we do?
You mean the movie's line?
That might be why I love that line so much. It hit home. And yeah, so like they chop off the arms and like starts going around and like they decide to burn it and go, okay, so that's it. There is an answer. It's taken care of. And then the smoke starts coming out of the chimney. Mm-hmm. And the smoke mixes with the clouds and causes rain to start coming down. And the rain goes onto the graveyard and all the zombies come out of the grave. Mm-hmm. With the amazing song, Do You Want a Part? That song is banger. And then the zombies just start attacking. And for the rest of this film...
Yeah, the punks that were still in the graveyard.
Yeah,
so.
And for the rest of this film, it essentially becomes... Shockingly enough, it keeps going back and forth just between two locations.
Yeah.
Like every now and again, it will cut to just a random shot of the city of like what's going on there. But for the vast majority of this film, it is the warehouse and the crematorium, and it is characters constantly going back and forth between there.
Yeah, like they didn't really do much in the graveyard either.
No, they got the hell out of there. And I find it so interesting that they made use of just two locations. Which, in all fairness, like you think about Night of the Living Dead, it was all just one location. Mm-hmm. However, the fact that it's two locations, you constantly have characters going back and forth between them, and that makes this so interesting because whenever I try and play this film back in my mind, I keep forgetting where people are at what time, and what scenes happen at what moment. And it feels like that would be a negative, but it kind of helps to amp up the chaos of this.
It's like when like a TV series has like a plot A and a plot B.
Yeah.
And eventually the two plots combine, and that's what happens eventually in here.
Except in this one, it's kind of like plot A and plot B, then go to these two different places, and then A and B keep going to different, keep swapping. And I find that very interesting how it's able to keep, by coming back and forth between these two locations, it keeps raising the tension. Because you've got stuff happening at both spots.
Yeah.
Because you've got the people trapped in the crematorium, and they've got the zombies outside. But then Tina goes back to, I love it, I'm not even trying to hide, I'm looking at the names over there. But then Tina goes over there to try and find Freddy, because she doesn't know that Freddy is at the crematorium. So she goes to the warehouse to try and find Tina, and that's where she finds the thing that was in the canister at the beginning of the film that they open up, which is one of the greatest zombies of any movie.
That was
the
really
Tar
impressive.
Man. Yeah, they call him the Tar Man. And I said that the only thing that connects all of the Return of the Living Dead films is the gas that turns the people into zombies. Also the Tar Man. They bring the Tar Man back for every film. He looks significantly worse after this one. But yeah, he looked amazing in this film. Apparently the stuff they slathered on him was the same stuff they used to make the Blob in the 1980s remake of the Blob.
Yeah.
Yeah, just...
I can like see that. Like I can see like the texture and like the.
And just the way that the actor inside the suit was just like contorted.
Yeah.
Like, he made it look like he had just jello limbs and just like, just.
I mean, his character literally melted.
Yes.
So
it is the best zombie of any film. It's so good. And I will say, we watched this on Blu-ray, and there is a feature on there called The Zombies Speak, in which you can put on subtitles just for the zombies, and we turned it on for this scene, and it's got its own special like zombie font down there. And we laughed at for like 30 seconds, and then it got old real fast.
it was all just puns.
It was just puns. Like when there's a moment in which Tina falls, and the Tar Man just goes, "Thanks for dropping in." I was like, Like, the novelty of it is fun for 30 seconds, and then you're just like, okay, we gotta turn this off. We gotta turn this off. And here's the other thing that's interesting about the zombies in this film, is that not only do they not die when they get anything happen to them, but the other thing that's interesting about them is that they can think. They can still talk.
Yeah.
In fact, for anybody out there who's ever wondered, where do zombies saying brains come from? It's this. The zombies in this film don't want to eat human flesh. They want to eat human brains because being dead is painful. And the only thing that takes the pain away is eating brains.
And that makes so much sense, but it also makes everything a lot sadder.
Yes.
Because all these zombies are in constant pain if they're not eating brains.
Yes, you feel so bad for like, there is a moment in which they actually get a zombie to like interrogate it, and it tells them the rules. It tells them, we need brains because I can feel myself rotting. It makes the pain go away.
It's like, yeah, like, feeling yourself decay, that must be awful.
It's so uncomfortable watching her say that, too, because, like, you feel the pain.
Yeah, and then you see, like, Freddy.
There. Thank you, phone. Sorry, I keep forgetting to mute my phone before this. But then, like, you see, like, Freddy, and they're continuously getting sicker throughout this film.
And, like, you could see, like, Tina, like, cradling him in her arms, and it's just, like, so heartbreaking.
It is,
like,
man. Again, it's one of those reasons why when people say this is an amazing horror comedy, I am so nervous to say it's a horror comedy, because there are genuinely funny moments in there.
Yes.
And there's, like, slapstick moments in
here.
Yeah. I won't even say it, but there's a moment, if you've seen the film, after the paramedics come, you know the scene, and it's actually one of the best jokes in any zombie film. So there are great jokes in here. But man, whenever it cuts back to Frank and Freddy, just after they've been exposed to the gas, you see them sweating and just like they're in so much pain and they're just so terrible and they're getting worse throughout the film. And just you see Tina just cradling Freddy and he's just scared out of his mind. Those actors are playing this straight. Mm-hmm. Which, in all fairness, everyone else in this film is playing it straight, too. Everyone is playing it straight. It's just that the situations are kind of ridiculous, and seeing, like, them being straight in those scenes kind of, like, makes it a little bit funnier. But when they're playing like I am genuinely sick and afraid of what's happening to me, and they're playing it as straight and scared as they can, it feels so uncomfortable. It is so, and I'm not saying like, oh, the film made me uncomfortable, so that's bad. It's like, no, that's, oh man, you guys, way to give it your all on that. Like, you nailed those scenes. Yeah. So from there, everything just keeps building and building, and we start to see the groups come together and start to see like the punks interacting with everybody else. And I really love that when all the shit is hitting the fan, everybody does come together, which I guess. Okay, I keep thinking about Ernie and why the hell they did that.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I keep thinking that might have been the point of this, because when the punks originally show up, he's ready to shoot them. But then he teams up with them quick, and I'm thinking that might have been why they did it. They're trying to like imply like even this guy this guy who would absolutely hate the punks are willing to work with them.
Like, we have a bigger problem to deal with, and we need to face it together.
So I kind of like that. You got the big business guy up there with Bert. You got the Ernie.
Ernie.
And Ernie. Oh my God, their names are Bert and Ernie.
It just dawned on you.
I am not kidding you. That was a genuine reaction. Holy shit! Let this recording work. Oh my God, that just hit me. Fuck. I've never even heard anybody make that joke. Wow. Okay. Sorry. Holy shit. I'm genuinely stunned. I've watched this film like 5 times. Never has it occurred to me. All right, sorry. But so you've got like the big business guy there with Bert. You got the older guy there with Frank. You got Ernie, who is the most out there, don't trust this asshole ever. And then you got all the punks in there, and they're all working together. It's like, again, part of punk mentality is like, everybody needs to come together and work together, but also part of punk mentality is like, except for you motherfuckers. Like, punks would be the first one to turn on Ernie, so that's why, to me, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is like, why the fuck did you do that with Ernie?
Why?
It puts such a big asterisk on top of every message you want to make in this film. Anyway, so, it's not even important to the fucking plot.
No.
So anyway, so yeah, they all start coming together, and this is where every time that I watch this film, I come away a little bit different from it, like a little bit of like a different appreciation for it. And this time watching this, I really like Spider.
Yeah.
I really like Miguel Nunez, because I have heard people in this film like talk about how like everybody is supposed to be a different type of punk. And they've said, well, Miguel Nunez's character, Spider, is supposed to be the zombie survivor. He is the guy who in the zombie film is the like, oh, okay, let's do this. Like, he's the one who stands up for stuff. He's the one who fights for stuff. And I've always been like, I don't really see that. And while I was watching it this time, I went, the reason why I don't see that is because that guy is always the protagonist in these films. There's no protagonist in this film. And that's why I've never really agreed with it. And as I was watching this, I kind of realized that's how this film is structured.
Yeah.
So let me look at it like that. And looking at it like that, I was like, yeah, that's absolutely who Miguel Nunez's character is.
Yeah, like when they find the tar man in the basement and all the punks run out, he's the first one to close the door behind him, and he turns around and is like, is anyone gonna help me block this guy in or something?
And yeah, there's so many other scenes like that where he's the one who steps in and does stuff. And I love seeing, and like watching it this time and going like, okay, there's no protag. So let me look at everybody as their own, like, let me look if everybody was the protag of their own film. And I went, yeah, Spider's the most kick-ass character in here from all the survivors in this movie. Like, I really like his character. Like, I liked him before, but I was like, yeah, he's all right. And now looking at, like, thinking of it in that way, like, all right, let me judge everybody on an individual basis. Yeah, I really dig his character in here. He's become, like, instantly one of my favorites. And this film, like I said, when the zombies start going nuts, again, it's one of the most terrifying zombie films because nothing can stop them. And it builds up to a point where it does become like apocalyptic. And it just makes me think of like other zombie films where we see stuff going out of hand. We see typically like a slice of what's going on in the world. We never see ground zero for this stuff. And it's another thing that makes this interesting is that we got to see things get out of hand.
We got to see Ground Zero, basically.
Yeah, exactly. We got to see where it began and where it starts spreading out and how fast that goes and how nobody has answers to this. And it makes this very nihilistic.
Yeah.
And that's one of the other things in which is like, man, it is hard to call this a horror comedy.
Yeah, it's like, every time I watch the ending, I always feel like so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
We won't spoil that yet. We're holding off on that. But I am warning everyone, this is very nihilistic. It is a like, man, fuck everything, huh? Which again, to me, kind of like goes against like the punk nature, but it's like, no, punk is about making a statement.
And this is
made
making a statement.
Absolutely. I've been talking a lot on this because I do love this film, so I kind of got away on this. But is there anything that you want to point out?
No, you pointed out a lot of it, basically, and it's just... well, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, the rain only affects the dead, right? The gas only affects the dead?
This is something that I've been trying to figure out, too, and I've been trying to figure out this watch, because I've mentioned I take something different away every single time I watch this. This time watching it, something occurred to me. And I was going to save this for the spoiler part, but it's not that much of a spoiler. You know what? We'll go into the spoiler part now.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we don't, like, mess anything. I'm going to say this right now. This, to me, is a 9 out of 10. It is very close to a 10 out of 10. I really love this film. I've watched it so many times, and I take something different away from it every single time. It's so unique, while taking the things that you knew and spinning them completely on their head. I recommend this highly. Do you want to give it a score? We still know we're doing scores on this show. It's a new show, baby. I could do numbers and you could do letters. We just completely say fuck it. Sorry.
I rate this 5 zombie heads out of 8 or some. I don't know.
Why out of 8?
Why not?
All right.
No,
I'm
it's
doing
like,
the math in my head of what that would be on 1 through 10. I was like, okay, so okay.
it's very much a B movie, but it's like because of like how the tone is kind of awkward. Like it's not a full horror and not a full dark comedy, and also because like the ending is kind of like depressing.
You do not feel good walking away from this.
No,
film.
so like because
I mean you kind of do because it ends with "Do you want a pie?" It's like it's hard.
But like that's supposed to be like ironic.
Yes,
like,
it is.
But like because of that, I would like usually like put this B movie to like a C plus.
Okay.
Or like a B minus.
Fair enough. Listen, I love the hell out of this film. I give it an A, maybe even an A plus. But I get it is not for everyone.
Yes.
Like this is a film that is going to be. You're either going to think this fucking rules, or you're going to walk away like I don't know. But not like I don't think that's a good film. I don't want to see that.
It's like the thing is, there are parts that are like really awesome, but then there are other parts that are like this is depressing.
Linnea Quigley shows her tits. How is this sad? Oh God! I'm just thinking. I just said that just as a joke, but like now I'm just thinking of that meme that someone made of the like, "Hey, dude, you feeling okay? Boobs? Can I offer you boobs?" Like, I'm just saying that. But
that's
like,
this movie.
Wow, that's the Linnea Quigley meme right there. Okay, so yeah, that's our two things. Like, okay, so like I give it an A, you give it a C plus. Like that's fun. Like that gives you the range. I don't think anyone hates this film.
No.
Yeah. But man, it ain't for everybody.
No, yeah.
But it is for me. I love this film. So let's go to the spoiler stuff now. And as we were mentioning, I never thought about this before. But watching it this time, something occurred to me. Nobody who gets bit turns into a zombie. And I think it's because they get bit and have their brains eaten. But I was like, no, someone does. Trash.
Yes.
Trash turns into a zombie. But she also was naked and got rained on, and she spent the whole time saying, "My skin feels like it's burning."
Yeah, like she mentioned, like, "Oh God, is this acid rain or something?"
Yeah, she kept saying it feels like I'm burning, and the other people got rained on too.
But they had clothes.
They had clothes on, and Linnea Quigley constantly trash throughout this. Constantly keeps saying, "It feels like I'm burning. It feels like I'm burning." Like, the only other two people we see get turned into zombies are Freddie and Frank
because they got exposed to the gas.
But like, Suicide gets bit in the brain. He doesn't come back. Scuzz gets bit in the brain. He doesn't come back. None of the paramedics come back.
So, like, is this basically like an airborne virus in a way?
It did not occur to me until right now. I don't think that anyone who gets bit in this, I don't think that in this particular world, because again, as we said, this does not follow zombie rules. They make sure to let you know this is not Night of the Living Dead rules. People who get bit don't come back as zombies in this. And I know somebody might say, well, in one of the later films they do. Again,
We're talking about this one.
every single one of the Return of the Living Dead films are set in a different continuity.
Yes.
So the rules are different in each of them. So yeah, that just occurred to me right now. These zombies don't turn you by biting you, but it also makes sense because they want to eat your brains. So, but then again, no, we see that the head is destroyed, the body still moves. But maybe like the brain has to be contaminated first and it has to like survive on something like, so yeah,
Like, I think they can only eat like fresh brains or something that because, as I said,
I mean, otherwise
dying.
they'd eat themselves.
Yeah, they don't eat themselves because they said themselves dying is painful. And it's like, and if you're just gonna eat another dying person, that's not really gonna help.
It makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, that's something that I never noticed until now. But I definitely think it might have been on purpose. I think because they make sure to point out the rules of Night of the Living Dead do not work in here. I think they made sure to like point out you don't turn by getting bitten. It's the gas. It's the rain. It's it's the chemical.
The atmosphere.
It's the virus. It is a virus that does this. Yeah, it did not occur to me until watching it this time. This does not follow you get bit, you get turned into a zombie rules. And that is so cool to me. But we should now talk about the other spoilery parts of this, which is that what happens to Freddy and Frank. Which you probably could tell, but in all honesty, the film doesn't try and hide that.
No.
Yeah, the film doesn't try and hide it's coming. But you still kind of have that hope. And man, it almost makes this like, I love it. The pain that the two of those guys are in is so excruciating and it feels just awful watching it happen to them. But when they go in there and they actually turn in, man, Tina, you never even see her with normal Freddy.
No.
You don't know how they interact, but like her dedication to sticking with him just lets you know how much they care about each other. And when they throw him into the chapel and she's in there and then he finally turns, it's almost like some like Lovecraftian, like I'm now seeing something beyond human when I turn, because it's one of my favorite things about this is that when he turns, he goes from like complete total pain to his eyes roll back and it's clear that he just died. But then a smile forms on his face as he comes back and it's just. You might love talking about a movie, but you will never love talking until your camera overheats to love a movie. Yeah, didn't see that coming. Sorry about that, folks, for that weird, awkward cut, but as I'm saying, I find it incredibly creepy how he transforms into a zombie because you see him go from complete pain to actually smiling for a moment. And it is almost like something supernatural. It like something cosmic almost. Of like, I am now seeing beyond death. It's like,
like Freddy is no longer there. He is now taken over by something else.
Yes, but again, the zombies, they can talk and they have their memories of being alive. And it makes it so much creepier because like when you watch a normal zombie film, and somebody has to put down someone they love who's a zombie, they're just like, And here, he's actually like, kind of like, Tina, you know I love you. And if you love me, you let me eat my brain.
Eat your brain.
Eat your brain. I'm in so much pain, Tina. Don't you want me to be out of this pain? And I was just like, God, it is so terrible. And it even leads up to that moment of like, this feels like a great flip on Night of the Living Dead. I'm hoping this is why it was in here, and not for the other reason my brain is going towards, but at the end of this thing, Tina and Ernie have to go up and hide in the attic from him. And I keep things like, Night of the Living Dead, it ends with them having to go down and hide in the cellar. And I keep thinking, it's like, is that made to be like a reverse of this on purpose? But that is not the big way that this film ends.
Nope.
The way this film ends, I remember when I watched this for the first time as a kid, and there's a bug in front of my face, sorry. I remember when I watched this for the first time when I was a kid, and my mind was just blown that they did this. But at the end of it, they finally get desperate enough that they call up the number on the tank. And the general, I love that just, like, this is what this guy has been waiting for 14 years. And we get one scene early on that establishes he's been waiting 14 years to find this tank. And he hasn't gone on vacation. He hasn't done anything. Every single day, he just comes home, waits for this call. That's it.
Like, he literally has, like, a section in his bedroom with, like, giant computer screens and everything.
Yeah,
so
big
he
old
can be
80s
on the
computers,
alert.
too. Yes. And he finally gets the call, and he's just so professional, just like, And then what happened? I see. Thank you very much. Yes. And then what happened? I see. Okay. And what about this? Okay. Thank you so much. And it's just like, he's just very, like, professional about the whole thing. And then just mechanically, like he's just a machine that just got switched to do this. Just gets up, goes over, dials a number, just says, right here, these coordinates, do this. And then you cut to somebody, typing it all in, and then you just see a nuke get launched at, what was it? It was in Kentucky, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, St. Louis.
Louisville.
Louisville, yes. St. Louis is in Kentucky. Louisville, yeah. Just gets launched at Louisville, Kentucky, and just wipes 20 blocks off the map, which I keep thinking to myself, a nuke would not wipe 20 blocks off of a map. Like, that's a tiny nuke.
Yeah.
20 blocks is a mile. Like, well, no, okay, 20 blocks in New York is a mile. 20 blocks in
In
Kentucky,
the country, yeah,
that's actually some space.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Fair enough.
Yes.
That actually makes sense. Okay. Yeah, they wipe a massive chunk of people off the Earth. And they even say it's like under 4,000 people. But then there's also like radiation coming from that. Like, you don't know how many people are going to get sick off of that thing. And again, it goes to the punk messaging of this thing, is that the entire message at the end is the government does not care about you and they will kill you to like cover up their own faults.
They're like, yeah, the rain will wash it away. And then it's like, oh, here we go again.
And they're also incompetent. Like, they don't even, like, yeah, the government is so quickly to kill their own people without even testing to see whether or not it will actually fix the problem. And it's like, yeah, that's the punk messaging right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the punks don't hate government. They just point out when governments are fascist and dicks. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that was the message there at the end of this film. And man, you just watch that ending and it does just... Again, I remember the first time I watched this as a kid, no idea, like, you kept thinking like, aha, how are they gonna get out of this? Well, here we're gonna see how they're gonna get out of... You gotta be fucking kidding me. No. Like, I remember after I watched this for the first time, me and my friend were just sitting there for a bit like, oh, fuck. And yeah, that's why I understand why some people might not want to watch this movie. I get it. But damn, man.
It's not even like the nuke that upsets me. It's the fact that like this cycle is going. Like, the gas goes into the rain, it brings out the dead, and if you nuke them again, it's just gonna the chemicals
keep going
until like eventually all of humanity is wiped out, and it's just
like all of North America, just gone.
Well, who knows?
What if they can walk underwater? Who knows?
I mean,
or swim.
Yeah, I mean, like air currents, they can flow over the ocean, so. Yeah. They can hit other countries.
It's just mass incompetence killed everybody. That's what the entire message of this film is. Mass incompetence and people not wanting to take responsibility for their own faults.
And
yeah.
Just very depressing how accurate that is.
Yeah. This is, man, it's one of those things where I've heard people say, like, you know, a lot of films from the 80s are more accurate today than they ever were. And then a lot of people will say, like, no, everything was still fucked back in the 80s. And it's like, you're both right.
Yes.
Everything was fucked back in the 80s. Things are even more fucked now. Yeah. So yeah, it is one of those where, again, like, you watch this and you are going to be depressed at points, but it's also a fucking awesome film.
Yes.
So I understand it's inside of you are two wolves.
Yes.
Yes. And they're both screaming out, do you want to party? Oh, man, yeah.
It's like they had to end the movie with that song just to make everyone cheer up.
Yeah. What are you going to do? End on silence? Just the sound of wind? Yeah. Yeah, I am kind of interested in, like, the sequel. Like, there's the one that's the trash sequel, but then there's another one that's going to be, like, the first sequel that's ever set within this same timeline.
Yeah, and
taking place, like, again, back in 1985, like, right after this happens. Like,
what's going to happen? Where is this going to go?
I got.
Is there going to be a cure? Or
yeah, I got to be honest with you, we have seen almost nothing of this new film. We've only seen, like, one quick little teaser that's just a zombie walking, and that's it. And I got a real feeling this is a cash grab. I got a real feeling this is going to be a piece of shit. That they are just like, nope, the name, just make money on the name. But I'm telling you right now, with our current political climate and with how this was such a like punk film, you have the opportunity to knock this thing out of the fucking park as long as you lean hard into the punk philosophy of this film. Mm-hmm. Lean into that, you could do some cool shit with this film.
Yeah.
But yeah. that's it. Let's end this now before our camera overheats again. Thank you guys. Well, it just cut to black right there. Thank you guys. Come back next week for another jump scare review, which we're going to be talking about another. Actually, no, next week, not a classic horror film, something fairly new that we've watched. That's kind of even more of an oddball horror film than this one. Tune in to see what we're talking about. Bye, everybody.
Bye.